Does the United States dare to fight a war with China now? Today, let's talk about this issue from two dimensions. First of all, in terms of the Navy, the United States currently has 11 aircraft carriers. However, in the event of a war, the United States can at most deploy 6 of them at best. Then, these carriers will be sent to the South China Sea to fight against China. It may seem intimidating, right? But in my opinion, the combat effectiveness of the U.S. aircraft carriers is really not up to par now. Take the U.S. Ticonderoga-class cruisers as an example. These are old ships that are already 40 years old. There are only 9 of them left now, all of which are 40-year-old vessels. But for China's Type 055 destroyers, there are already 9 of them. And they are being launched at a rapid pace of 2 per year. It is said that a total of 16 of them will be built. The main thing is that the Type 055 has strong strike capabilities. Each ship is equipped with 112 vertical launch systems. With the One Pit 4 missile technology, each ship can carry 448 missiles. As for the Ticonderoga-class cruisers, they have only more than 40 vertical launch units. They are simply not in the same class as China's Type 055. Moreover, the Type 055 is newer and has the advantage of being developed later. It has stronger strike capabilities and a larger quantity. How can it compare with the Type 055? Then let's talk about the U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. These are also old ships that are more than 30 years old. Although there is the Arleigh Burke Flight 3. It is just a product of an emergency upgrade. New electronic warfare radars and other equipment have been added to the ships. Mainly in terms of electronic warfare, the United States has found that China's destroyers have already taken the lead, and the development of drones is very rapid. So the United States has urgently added some electronic warfare systems to the Arleigh Burke class and managed to come up with the Arleigh Burke Flight 3. This is just like China's H-6 bomber. Even with improvements, its performance is still behind that of the B-21. This is determined by the inherent attributes of the aircraft itself. If you still don't understand the logic, you can think of it this way. For example, if you want a significant increase in your job salary, you either need to change your position or change your industry, right? So compared with China's Type 052D destroyers, I don't think the U.S. Arleigh Burke class destroyers can match them either. In terms of scale and quantity, the current launching speed of Chinese destroyers is also very fast. Some people may say that the aircraft carriers of the United States carry a large number of fighter jets. But don't forget that with so many vertical launch systems on China's Type 055 and Type 052D, they can carry out saturation attacks. So the U.S. aircraft carriers dare not get too close. If they don't get close, the range of the carrier-based aircraft will not be sufficient, and they won't be able to play much of a role. Secondly, the shipbuilding industry in the United States has shrunk seriously. Since the U.S. dollar became dominant, the United States seems to have relaxed and started to enjoy life. Just like rich people, they can get money even without doing anything and just stay at home. Who would still want to work? So now there's not much manufacturing industry left in the United States. In terms of naval shipbuilding, the United States lags far behind China. Currently, the only advantage the United States may have is in nuclear submarines. After all, these can only be detected by sonar. As long as they remain stationary underwater, they basically blend in with the seabed on the sonar display. Coupled with the strong interference in the sea, they are very difficult to detect. The United States can use nuclear submarines to launch Tomahawk missiles to attack China's surface ships. However, the problem is that modern warfare is an integrated war involving the sea, land, and air, not a single combat. Now, in terms of warships, except for submarines where the United States has an advantage, it is basically comprehensively behind China in other aspects. In terms of the Air Force, the US F-35 and F-22 are products from decades ago. While China has corresponding products such as the J-20, J-35, and the recently emerged 6th-generation aircraft J-36 and J-50. So the United States also has no advantage in the air. In addition, unfortunately, the United States does not have hypersonic missiles. As for how powerful hypersonic missiles are, I believe everyone has seen the information about the Houthi armed group and Iran's counterattacks against Israel. They were using only low-end versions of hypersonic missiles. such undefendable weapons are even more difficult for the United States to deal with. Therefore, I believe that without the outbreak of a nuclear war, the United States does not dare and cannot defeat China. The United States should also be aware of this. So it can only unite with countries around China to confront China, such as South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, Vietnam, and so on. Of course, some people may not be happy with what I said. But there's no way. My sources of information are obtained by comparing Western networks and Chinese networks. Personally, I think I am at least relatively objective.